Hola, mi amigos. It is NexusComplex, and this is the breakdown for our Game 5 matchup in the RPL Season 2 against the Atlanta Braviaries. Pretty sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is going to be a tough matchup. They're coming into this game 4-0, and their team is extremely solid. They have a good amount of threats and a fair amount of bulk, and they have some wild cards. So let's get into it. We're going to break down what I consider the anchor of their team, Kyurem. Kyurem is a beast. Kyurem boasts a base 660 stat total. His lowest stats are 90s in his defensive category, which 90s are really good in defense. A lot of Pokemon would kill to have 90s in defense. And on top of that solid defense and great stats across the board, he has a unique typing in Ice Dragon. It's not that groundbreaking of a typing because it kind of takes away the ice weakness and adds the fire weakness, but it's unique and it's good enough. So the offensive presence of Ice and Dragon on the same Pokemon is pretty ridiculous. Add in the fact that Pokemon has base 130 attack and special attack, 95 speed, and has a move pool diversity that includes Shadow Ball, Psychic, Hyper Voice, Earth Power, and I'm probably forgetting a couple others. Kyurem is effing scary, man. Kyurem is the type of Pokemon that could sweep your whole team given the opportunity. And I feel like this is one of those games where I feel like I'm going to wind up getting tunnel vision and concentrating on so many other things, and then something is going to come out of nowhere and just blindside me. Because I'm looking at this roster, the top 5 Pokemon on his team I am super worried about. The next one being Keldeo, who is another legendary. Not the stat total of Kyurem, but definitely strong within its own right. Keldeo is a water fighting type, which isn't unique, but I would say Keldeo makes the best use of it, and he's a special attacker. Normally for a fighting type, special attacking kind of sucks because there's only really like Aura Spear and Focus Blast, which Focus Blast has the worst accuracy like ever. I feel like I miss Focus Blast all the time. But he gets his own special maneuver, Secret Sword, which is a special attack with 85 power. And I think if I read the stuff correctly that it hits the defensive stat even though it's a special type move. So it kind of does what like Psyshock does, so it uses the defense stat. Obviously being a water type, it gets Hydro Pump. Its move pool isn't as diverse as like Kyurem in terms of the special side. It's really notable just for the water and the fighting attacks. So it gets like Hydro Pump, it could get Focus Blast, but I feel like using Secret Sword and Hydro Pump is better for you. And I mean, you could run Keldeo physical, but it's not worth the investment because its special attack is 50 points higher. It's got base 108 speed, base 90 defenses, and 91 HP. So it's bulky enough to take a hit. So Keldeo also could easily beat down my team. And the thing is, like, Keldeo and Kyurem at their speeds, Keldeo is kind of fast. Kyurem is like if you were doing it like a 1 through 5 ranking, Kyurem would kind of fall in like that 4 category in the meta at 95 speed. Keldeo is probably like top end 4, low end 5, if that makes any sense. If someone's watching this that doesn't play very often, that's the best way to like equate it. My team is kind of slow compared to this team. So to even have a chance, because these things are fast, they're going to be faster than me without an item investment, and they're going to hit hard. So that's the thing, is you don't have to outspeed my team, you don't need a choice scarf or anything like that. You could just outspeed my team regularly. So you can add to your team's attacks. So it's going to be hard for me to stand up to this team from a defensive standpoint because it can just launch attacks pretty regularly and hit me with pretty good damage and outspeed me while doing it. So we talked about the team that we're going against from an offensive standpoint and the threats that they pose. And this is the first Pokemon that I really feel like is a strong defensive Pokemon, but its ability makes it much better. It's a pretty good counter lead. and that's Hatterene. So Hatterene is the first Pokemon that we just outspeed outright. It is slow. Hatterene is like one of those perfect Trick Room Pokemon that, like, when Game Freak made the game, I'm pretty sure there was a guy that likes using Trick Room teams that was like, dude, I need a good counter lead for my Trick Room team that can also pack a punch. And he slipped these stats in there specifically for his team. Hatterene has 57 HP and 29 speed. Other than that, everything is above a 90. Hatterene has 90 attack. I didn't realize Hatterene's attack was so strong because its special attack is 136. You don't run physical Hatterene because special attack is 46 points higher. But you could. 90 attack. Hatterene could kill stuff physically. It gets Nuzzle. It can't make as great of use of it because of its speed, but if you want to run physical Hatterene, you can. You can do it. It's a thing you could do. I don't know why you would do it, but you can. And then getting into the ability, if I haven't already mentioned it, Magic Bounce. So non-attacking moves come right back to the side of the field. So if you try to Toxic, Stealth Rock, Spikes, anything like that, Hatterene sends that shit right back to you. So if you're thinking of doing something like that, you have to be aware that Hatterene is on the other team. That's really Hatterene's main ability in terms of singles. It has Healer, but that's more of a doubles ability. So I think that just about covers Hatterene. Now we get into a very underrated Pokemon, I think, in Diggersby. That Diggersby, though. Diggersby has huge power. Huge power doubles your attack stat. So Diggersby has a 56 base attack. With huge power, it's now 112. So, oh shit, Diggersby packs a punch. It's got 85 HP, 77 defenses, so it's not the bulkiest thing in the world, and 78 speed. But it's got good enough HP and a good enough attack that it can mess you up. Its move pool's not the best, but it's got really intriguing options that you could run that could potentially win you a game. So you could do Gunk Shot, Superpower if you're really worried about Pokemon that's weak to fighting. He has Wild Charge, High Horsepower, which is Stab, Earthquake, which in singles I'm pretty sure you're just going to run Earthquake, Body Slam, but another intriguing option here is always Facade. Because it's a physical attacking Pokemon. What do you want to do? Well, I'm gonna burn it to cut its attack. Well, Facade thrives on that, and it's stat boosted. So I was running some calcs, and it's not the bulkiest Pokemon in the meta, but I think we can all agree that Clefable has got decent bulk. With max HP and max defense, a choice banded Facade, with Diggersby burned, obviously, has a 94% chance to kill Clefable outright, one hit. Now, it's only got a 6% chance if you're running Life Orb, but I mean, Diggersby is one of those Pokemon that if you want to throw a choice band on it and just try to kill a certain thing, you could do that. Diggersby is a powerful Pokemon. And honestly, looking at this move pool, I feel like I'm way more scared of Diggersby now than I was before I started doing this video. And it gets the punches. It gets the elemental punches as well. So Diggersby has pretty good coverage, a great ability, so-so stats, but huge power makes up for it. And you could run Scarf or Band on it and not really bat an eye. It also gets U-turn. So against a team that has like a dark type like I do, like Hydreigon, that is one of your better Pokemon, you can just bring U-turn Diggersby and mess it up, like pretty badly. Like hit and run tactics, just light it up. Back to the defensive side of this team is, oh my god, Umbreon. Oh my god. Thankfully, they didn't give Toxic back to Umbreon in Gen 8 because this thing is ridiculous. For those of you that are unaware, Umbreon's special defense is 130 and its base defense is 110 and its HP is 95. If you're looking for just baseline bulk, Umbreon's got you covered. Umbreon is hard as hell to kill. You could run a close combat from a lot of fighting types, and Umbreon's probably going to eat that shit. Just for reference here, I'm going to use Hitmonlee, since he's on my team, and his base attack is 120. If you have a healthy Hitmonlee running Choice Band, You have a guaranteed 2-hit KO on a specially defensive Umbreon. Specially defensive, not physically defensive. 2-hit KO. Good luck. The thing with Umbreon is it doesn't have an offensive presence. The main offensive move that it runs is Foul Play, which works on the opponent's physical attack stat. So against a Pokemon like Haxorus or Excadrill that really can't kill Umbreon in one shot, if you wish Protect on Umbreon, you're pretty much going to guarantee you live a good amount of the time. But in a draft league setting, Umbreon can be utterly devastating because chances are it's not going to die. It can heal itself and teammates, and it's just Foul Play is enough to pressure your team, and then it can do like things like Yawn and inflict status. You know, it's not doing toxic damage anymore, but it can basically force switch outs with Yawn and mess a team up. So Umbreon is a very good disruptor / healer, and I don't see anything. I don't know how I'm gonna kill it. Basically, my best shot is a Hitmonlee, but there's no world in which I think I can kill it. And if it hits me with a Foul Play, I'm probably dead. So Umbreon is gonna be fun. I don't know how. Umbreon will have to be the last Pokemon. That's the only shot I have of killing this damn thing. Next up on the team is Ninetales. So Ninetales sees a lot of usage mainly because of its ability Drought. So it sets Sun as soon as it comes onto the field, which is really good to support certain teams and certain Pokemon. Like, it synergizes very well with Pokemon with Chlorophyll, so it works well with Leafeon and Venusaur and other grass types like that. Solar Powered Charizard loves it. There's certain other Pokemon that work with it in the sun, but that's the main reason it gets used. But that's not the only thing it can do, so you have to be aware of it. It's got 100 speed and 100 special defense. Its special attack is 81, but with a nasty plot, that immediately becomes something you have to worry about. But that base 100 speed, like I talked about before with Kyurem and Kelio, that pretty much outspeeds my whole team. So there's not much I can do to combat it. Its move pool is good enough. It gets Dark Pulse, Energy Ball, Solar Beam, which if it sets Sun, Solar Beam becomes a one-turn attack. I don't really think there's a world in which you run Energy Ball on Ninetales if you could just do Solar Beam. It can trap Pokemon if it wants to with Fire Spin, and it can do certain statuses. So it can burn, it can do Hypnosis, although Hypnosis is a low accuracy. You're kind of gambling every time you do it. It could definitely bite you. If you hit it, it could be the difference between you winning or losing a game. Other than that, I mean, that's kind of what Ninetales is going to do. Drought, Solar Beam, status. It can do Mystical Fire, which drops your special attack. I'd say that's more of a tech move, though. You'd be kind of bringing that for something. Next up on the list is Stonejourner. I don't have much outright experience with Stonejourner, but I do know that its HP, attack, and defense are sky high. It's got 100 HP, 125 attack, 135 defense, and it's got better speed than you would expect at 70 base stats. Its special stats are trash, though. It is 20 special attack and 20 special defense. So it's like most rock types in where if you hit it with a special move, it's probably going to die. With 125 base attack, if it does get to hit you, it's going to hurt pretty badly. It's pure rock type, so it limits the weaknesses it has, but rock does have a fair amount of weaknesses in of itself. So Stonejourner has 125 base attack, but unfortunately for Stonejourner, its same type attack moves aren't the best accuracy. Stone Edge is 80% accurate, and Rock Slide is 90% accurate. Outside of those moves, its next biggest move I'd say would be Earthquake. And then it gets stuff like Superpower, it gets Heavy Slam, Heat Crash, and Body Press, which I would assume most Stonejourners run Body Press because of its high defense. It can also do Facade, but I feel like most Pokemon get Facade. And depending on the matchup, you could run self-destruct as a blow it up option. Like, oh, I need to kill this thing. Let's just self-destruct on the switch in and kill it. So that's really it for Stonejourner. The only other thing I could see really happening would be maybe running like an iron defense set and just boosting defense and then body pressing on something. It can also set stealth rock, but its special defense set is pretty frail for a lead. You could definitely run sash on it though and guarantee you get the stealth rock up and then see what happens, maybe self-destruct or something. So that is definitely something I'll have to be aware of. So maybe Delmice might come with me just as a Stonejourner counter. Next we get into Vileplume. Vileplume has been around for a long time. It's one of the Gen 1 Pokemon. But one thing I didn't realize until last season when I had a Blossom is that Vileplume gets Strength Sap. Strength Sap can be devastating to physical attackers. I believe I talked about it before when I talked about Jellicent. Strength Sap heals you in proportion to your opponent's attack stat and lowers their attack stat. So against a Pokemon that's just all attack, you can cripple it. Vileplume's also got really pretty good special attack at 110 base, and its stats across the board aren't bad. It's got 50 speed, but that's fine. 85 defense, 90 special defense, 80 attack, and 75 HP. So you can make Vileplume bulky, and with Strength Sap, it just increases its chances to survive. You could even run Strength Sap over Synthesis if you wanted to, because Strength Sap, you get more chances at it, and the chance that you run into a Pokemon with a high physical attack in a league battle is pretty common to run into that. So I would say you run Strength Sap over Synthesis, but if you don't think that's going to happen, you can always use Synthesis as your own way to heal up. It gets Dazzling Gleam and Moonblast. It's Poison and Grass, so it gets Stab on Sludge Wave and Energy Ball, and Giga Drain if you want to use Giga Drain and keep it alive for even longer. It is completely a counter to Seismitoad. There's no world in which I want to try to keep Seismitoad in against Vileplume. Even if I run a Rindo Berry, I still think it's going to just crush me. So, we'll see though. And it also has the powders, which are 75% accurate, but it can poison, paralyze, and put me to sleep. It can also function fairly well as a cleric because it gets aromatherapy, so it can heal statuses on its teammates. It doesn't get Quiver Dance though, so that is one thing that Blossom does get over it. Vileplume poses threats within its own right, and I can see it being a good counter to Hydreigon, because I don't think, unless I get a nasty plot up, I don't think a Flamethrower is going to kill this thing outright. So Vileplume definitely poses some threats to my team, and Strength Sap is always something that could throw a monkey wrench in your plans. Next up is Cramorant, a Gen 8 edition, which has a very unique ability that is pretty much why it gets usage. So, Gulp Missile, if it uses Surf or Dive, it comes up with a Pokemon in its mouth. It's either an Arrokuda or a Pikachu. Both do damage. The Pikachu will paralyze. And it's whenever you hit it. So it's not special or physical. It's just if you hit it, it's going to shoot that at you and it's going to hurt you. A lot of people like running Rocky Helmet with it, so you're just taking extra damage every time you hit Cramorant. Its stats aren't the greatest, but it's not bad by any means. Its physical defense is bad at 55, but everything else is manageable. It's got 85 speed, 85 physical and special attack, 95 special defense, and 70 HP. So it can be a mixed attacker if you want it to be. Its speed's not terrible, and it's got enough HP with certain investment you can live certain things. Its move pool isn't awful. With Superpower, Brave Bird, it can run Hurricane, It obviously gets skulled, but with its ability, you're going to be running Surf or Dive 9 times out of 10. You can also run Fly if you want to. And honestly, the good thing about its ability is it's Dive or Surf. So you're going to get to use the ability regardless if you go special or physical. So that's another benefit to Cramorant. Obviously, it's water flying, so it's 4 times weak to electric moves. So any type of electric move will most likely kill this thing unless it's running a berry. But like I said, almost every time I've seen it, it's running Rocky Helmet. So it just gets extra chip damage off on you in addition to the Gulp Missile being shot at you. So you'll just pick up a bunch of residual damage while you're fighting Cramorant. And you have to fight off the dives and the surfs and all that stuff. And last but not least on this team is Ferroseed. Ferroseed plays very much like its evolution Ferrothorn, but it needs Eviolite to function. So with Ferroseed, you can kind of guess, unless you're doing something really gimmicky, that it's going to have Eviolite. So Knockoff is always good to bring if you think you're going to go against Ferroseed. Ferroseed boasts really high defense, but its HP stat is not the best. But in terms of a budget wall, I would be hard pressed to give you a better one at the tier and the value that Ferroseed was at. It still can do all the other things that Ferrothorn does to be annoying, in the fact that it can do Leech Seed, Spikes, Stealth Rock, and if it wants to, it can self-destruct if it feels the need. Alright, so getting into the team that I think is going to be brought for the battle, I think Kyurem and Keldeo 100%. I think Hatterene with Energy Ball. Diggersby just because it can do a lot of stuff to me. Umbreon and Ferroseed to cause havoc with being able to try to break the walls. So that's what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Kyurem, Keldeo, Hatterene, Diggersby, Umbreon, and Ferroseed is what I'm expecting to see. So I'm going to prep for them. I'm going to have some other stuff on my Pokemon just in case. Like Flamethrower for Vileplume or, stuff like that. But hopefully, if it's those 6, this plan will work and we can pick up the win. But like I've said before, this team looks really good and it's a really good coach that we're going against. So fingers crossed. Alright, so I lead Salazzle and they lead Keldeo. That's obviously a bad matchup, so I'm going to switch to Seismitoad, predicting a water attack. I predict that correctly, and this is probably the last correct prediction of this battle for me. I was thinking about running a Hitmonlee with Snowball to take a freeze dry in this particular scenario, so that it would trigger the speed boost and an attack boost, and I could try to blow something up. I think that he's going to get crazy with Kyurem, so I try to encore that freeze dry to hit him with a flamethrower. He switches, so it doesn't work out at all. I nasty plot, trying to boost because I know I can't do much to Umbreon, and I figured that that's what he assumed, is I won't do much to Umbreon, so I thought he was going to stay in. So I try to encore on the Wish again, so then Keldeo gets a free switch in. So then I overthink and I go, oh, well, last time I switched to Seismitoad, he'll probably predict that. So I'll stay in with Salazzle and try to Sludge Bomb, thinking he'll use something else. Nope, called it perfectly. Kills me with the Surf, and now Salazzle's gone, which was a pretty big defensive pivot. Ferroseed comes in. Obviously, Corviknight can't do much. So I'm going to try to bulk up, thinking that he'll stay out. He misses the Leech Seed, which is awesome. I get overconfident that he'll just try to Leech Seed again. So I bulk up a second time, trying to take out Ferroseed. Switches to Ninetales, gets the Sun Up. I don't really think about that. I'm back at full health here. So I'm thinking if I hit this Brave Bird, I thought I would live the Fire Blast. I thought it was going to be Flamethrower, not Fire Blast. So that was a bad call. So now Corviknight is dead too. Then the Hypnosis from Ninetales, and Ninetales gives me problems from this point on. I stay in with Seismitoad for some stupid reason, hoping to wake up. Don't know why I was like, oh, Solar Beam. Thought I might live it, but it nasty plotted, so there we go. So that's my third bad call in like 4 turns. So now this game is just completely off the rails. I've got nothing going my way. Hitmonlee comes in, gets Hypnosis. So now he's asleep. So I'm essentially down to 2 Pokemon on 6 right now. Hydreigon takes his Fire Blast. I'm going to Draco. Not that it would really matter, but the Draco misses. So Umbreon comes right back in. It's got leftovers, so it's basically back to full health. Eats it, 34% on a Draco Meteor from Hydreigon. So yeah, Umbreon is pretty much, unless I get Hitmonlee to wake up and get 2 free attacks in a row, Umbreon's basically unkillable at this point. Gardevoir comes into Keldeo. Obviously predicted a Moonblast or a Psychic, which was correct. 20% damage, which I'm fine with. But I want to see if I can get rid of this Ferroseed to try to maybe pull something in the right direction here. So I'm going to Flamethrower with Hydreigon. Switches into Umbreon. Which I was hoping for a burn, but then Synchronize would have just hurt me too. It really sucks that the Leech Seed was up. There was nothing I could do against Umbreon. So then I'm going to try to wake up with Hitmonlee. Kind of testing if this Umbreon has Nasty Plot. I should have stuck to my guns. He switches into Vileplume. Obviously, it knows I have Flamethrower at this point. So I'm going to try to Flamethrower. I hit it, but it's a tanky Vileplume. It eats it. Then it kills me with Moonblast. At this point, I'm just kind of... I'm still playing, but I'm definitely off my game, and my team has been beaten up, so it's by far one of the worst games I can ever recall playing. Predicts the Psychic. So I'm just in this really bad spot now with a Scarfed Gardevoir trying to play around an Umbreon and a Ferroseed and, you know, a Vileplume. There's so much bulk on those 3, and with Hitmonlee not waking up, I can't do anything. I'm gonna try to get Keldeo to jump out of here, which I do get the switch into Vileplume. I didn't have Mystical Fire, so I'm able to hit the Moonblast. Vileplume lives it because it resists. And I just Moonblast again to finish off Vileplume to at least get 1 KO here. I was expecting a switch in, but I'm Scarfed, so I'm locked anyway. Drought comes back up with Ninetales. Moonblast, it would kill the next turn, and I'd get the special attack drop, but then it's a crit. So Gardevoir was trending to try to maybe change the battle a little bit, but yeah, that crit just ended any attempts at a rally. Hitmonlee doesn't wake up, so I can't even KO this Ninetales. So the Ninetales basically beat my ass, and the Atlanta Braviaries destroyed me this week. So shout out to Rivet. Good game this week. I don't really see a world in which you could have played a better game. You thoroughly dominated me, both in the prep and the actual game itself. Your predictions were pretty on point, and you had me outthinking myself. So, big ups to you. Good win. Now Nidokings are looking forward to the second game this week against Lonnie, hoping to bounce back and get out of this week at 1-1. So, that's the plan. Thank you guys for joining me this week, as always, and I will catch you guys on the next one.